Hi, it's Xavier, and welcome back to my bonsai retreat. And it's just a cloudy day. Do you know what that means? We're going to have some pretty good filming. It's a shame the quality won't be so good, but hey, can't give you everything, can I? Dressed down a bit. I know that there are a few of you who like some of the more garish shirts that I'm wearing, and I don't have to because the sun's not out, so I don't need to protect my delicate and sensitive skin. Right, I suppose we ought to deal with some bonsai, and this one was actually one of my earliest videos, and I think it entitled something about making bonsai fun, and really it was picking up on the influences of Nigel Saunders in particular in using animals and features to actually draw your eye into what could be an otherwise okay but dull bonsai planting. And yes, we can alter our tree positions and all sorts of things like that, but I think in this video, and if I remember rightly, he says remembering with his sheet of paper. Now, if I remember rightly, with his sheet of paper, in March 22, I took apart a forest that had been, well, I think it was 3 trees that had been together for a very long time, but looked really, really boring, and I just didn't know what to do with it. And it's worth seeing actually, because it does show the construction of a forest. You know, I'm quite haphazard, by the way. The link to the video's up there. Oh, and that's another point. Probably need to apologise if I haven't corrected it yet. The actual image I used for the thumbnail is of a similar planting I did the year before, and to make up for that, we'll actually include this in this video. I'm blaring again, aren't I? Anyway, this is the one, and overall we've got reasonable growth. There certainly wasn't throwing out so much growth that I had to do an earlier prune, but I'm reaching a point where some of these shoots are just starting to reach a length where I can do something with them. So I'll have a look at that. Now, this planting actually featured in another video, which is all about, I think I called it "Did the Sun Kill My Larch?" or "Did the Sun Kill My Bonsai?" One hot day, something like that. I bet you there's a link coming up somewhere around there. That's another good video too if you haven't watched it. Just to remind you the danger of a couple of days of 40 degrees in the UK can be enough to do for your trees, and you won't know for a while. Get that watering regime well. See, even the bird came round, listened to that bit, and has now flown off to sort out his watering regime. Yeah, and the reason why this came into it is because this back tree here, which I'm not sure if you can see it that well. Yeah, this back tree here, I think you can see it's dead. Probably the easiest way to demonstrate that properly. It's quite a good method, and what you find you do is if you do this and it makes that noise, try again. Yeah, and for those who missed it, I think it's clear that's the dead noise. Now I've got a choice. I can either pull it out of the entire composition, or, gosh, that's thunder. I can look at that lovely bark and think, do you know what, we could have a bit of fun with this. And just scar it up a bit, give it a reason for death, and that will probably be, I don't know, lightning. We always say lightning because we can't think of anything else normally. Anyway, I'm not going to remove, I don't want to remove too much of the craggly bark, but needless to say, I thought what I could do is try this. I don't know if it's oh, it is. And at this point I'd like to thank everyone. Oh, there's the thunder to prove it can happen, because this was the first thing I ever bought from my Google AdSense. What I don't want to do obviously is whoop. Oh. Okay. Well, that'll do for that. Big thumbs up to that. Is that a TMB doodah doodah? So I think I have to go close. There we go. Lovely. Well, I didn't expect or plan to be using that. It suddenly occurred to me. So anyway, so we've got a bit of well, that's created a bit of interest to it, and yeah, well, hey ho. Right, anyway, back to this. What I do need to do is weed it, but in terms of how it's actually gone, I mean, bear in mind, planted in March. We lost one tree. Hang on. What am I saying? Planted in 2022, so it's had a good year and a half to bed in. Nice deep pot, and I tend to find with larches I like deeper pots, mainly because they've got lots of roots, and I don't want to be repotting this for probably 3 or 4 years. Now here's another one, lower branch, totally dead. So let's fix this up. And to be honest, I know what I'll end up doing. I'll end up taking it all the way back and just removing it, to be fair. I mean, you can get deadwood on these trees, but it often doesn't look that good. And if you go in close, to be fair, it just doesn't look that good. So we'll get rid of it. Okay. The rest of it, looking there, no more deadwood that I can see. And just checking around the rest of it. There doesn't appear to be any problems. I've got bark coming away there, so we'll peel that away, because what we want to make sure is that we haven't got horrible burrowing insects under there. That's naturally forming the shari or deadwood parts. Shari is within the trunk. I've got that there, and I can put some wood hardener, although larch is a very, very hard wood. They use it for making furniture in some countries. So yeah, so just make sure that's fine. So I'm happy with that. We've got some nice growth on it, that's for sure. In fact, while we're close up, I'm just going to be looking at where the bud points are. And again, you can see here, we've actually got that one and that one, which will give us a spread. Then we've got this third, comes out again, but I'm trying to go taper. So I'm going to go back to that, always thinking of taper, long term. So we'll get the shoots coming out this way. And then we look at this one here. 1, 2. Got that one going on the inside. I quite like it. And there's also a bud there. I want that bud to actually activate. Just get rid of that stub. And then we come out here, we've got that one there and another one behind it. And then this here splits. I'm actually going to remove that. Probably removed the wrong one then, actually. Yeah, see? I removed the wrong one then. Oh dear. It'll grow back, it really will. And then we go further up here. We've got the buds there, so I'm going to take it all the way back, keep it nice and compact. This one, same thing, just looking at trying to tighten it up. And in fact, this is the thing, we've actually got 2 buds further back, which could actually give us some ramification. So I might just see if I can encourage a couple of those. And that gives us our pad levels, which means this one here probably shouldn't be much more than that. I've got one that goes up, I'm quite happy to leave that. Here, take that all the way back. It's just about how you want your pad to look. Down here, this one is going off in a wonky one. We don't want it going too far, so we just have a look. Bud point, probably that. So that's those 2 done. Close in here, you know, think about in the scale of the tree, will we have this great big branch here? And I think the answer to that is not. I could, if I want to, think about wiring it down and creating a structure for it, but I am, where possible, because of the volume of trees I've got and the way these things grow, looking to optimize on clip and grow. So we've got a bud back here and a bud here and one that goes up. I'm actually going to take it back to there and see what happens here, following it round. In here we've got this one going up, I don't want that one. Then we've got this one here, which is coming out a long way. Truthfully, we need that to shoot up. We've got this one that never made it. Get rid of it. And then we've got this one here. And within the context of what the tree's doing, I need to keep it really probably quite tight. So we'll leave that, and then we've got this here. Again, within the confines of the tree, I want to bring it right back because it's actually a branch coming off here. And what I like about this branch is down here is actually a bud just there. That bud is the one I'd actually like to come out. I think I don't want what I don't want is that one shooting out this way, but there's one there I'll have. So we'll take it to there. And looking at that being the size, we don't want it going too far, so I'm actually going to bring it all the way back to there. And that is that tree now, happily into shape. And look, those above agree with me with their thunderous roars. Mr. Bear just fell over, just tripped on a root. Oh gosh, got some surface roots there. Let's just cut them, see if it doesn't kill the tree. Okay, you can see there I did a little cutting. I want to reduce a bit of length on that, but really just keep it tighter. You know, if you think of it in context of it's going to take over from this dead tree that's back here, so the growth is going to go out that way, which is where I want it to dominate. Looking at this one, same principle. So I will be just looking where those lovely buds are. Now here we go, here's another classic here. We've got a nice pad shape on it, but I'm not going to wire it. In terms of how the shape is, this needs to be coming right back. So although this nice growth is good, I actually want these ones to be activating. So we'll get rid of that. Here, that's coming out far too far. So we'll get rid of that growth. Okay, so we've got a pad there. On this one, there's two very small micro buds. I'm not going to try and zoom in. You know by now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about when I talk about pruning to the buds and trying to encourage different shoots, please have a look at all my larch playlists. I've got really comprehensive how to prune larch, how to develop larch in there. So I'm just following those principles. There's a bit of a mess there, but I'm not that bothered right now. I just want to refocus the tree in the right place. Like if you look at it, this high up the tree, we've got this great big long growth. And there's a big internode there. We don't really want that. That wouldn't happen. Although it has happened, so maybe it would happen. Ah, Mother Nature's telling me it would happen. Do you know, I've just put all the wash out. Lovely and humid, and you know what's going to happen in about 20 minutes. I'm going to be racing to get the camera in and the washing in. Do you know, I talk about such interesting rubbish. Isn't it incredible? I am a real life person. Do you know that? I know. Some of you thought I'm like an internet superstar. It's hard not to think that, isn't it? But truly, I'm not. I like this. This is very juvenile growth, but it's hardening. So I could just pull the ends out because I saw Nigel Saunders do it. So that must be okay then. I quite like that growth at the top, to be fair. But again, I've got another one here. I want to shorten that right back. What's nice is I've got two opposing bud pairs which will grow from. In fact, I'm not. In fact, I won't. I'll take that right back. It just doesn't look right. There we go. That's much better. And the same with this branch here. Right back. So that's much tighter and much more sustainable. And I'm going to continue to go around this. And I'm going to make sure you miss it, because otherwise the tripe that's going to come out of my mouth really is going to get me in trouble, I'm sure of it. So I'll come back to you when I've done all that. In fact, barely had I uttered those words, health and safety reasons, I don't want to get struck by lightning. The tree did, the washing could, but I'm not, and I don't want to lose my camera, so I'm off. We're at filming location 2. I've gone to another scene. I know it's not going to be as good for the background viewing, but I've got to keep on doing this, otherwise I'm really not going to get very far with the developing the extra ramification I want. So apologies if it's not so clear, but actually I'm sure I told you that I wasn't actually going to show it. But here we go, lower branches, bud, Makes for quite an interesting background sound actually, doesn't it? Lovely fine growth on this, it's just not all where I want it. It's humid, gosh, it's humid. Right. So there we go. So, you know, that's a nice pad there forming, but it's early stages. As I say, this forest has only been going for a year. The first year was spent probably putting the energy into those roots. I'm getting a wee bit scared actually. I've had flashes of lightning and thunder, and the camera is starting to get a wee bit wet. And this is an example. I've got this lovely long growth here, but it's not going to sit right in the tree, so I've actually got to take it all the way back to there. So I remove 2 centimeters of growth. And the earlier you recognise and make these decisions, it's much better for the long-term development of your tree. The balance of getting lots of pads and growth. It's like thunder, lightning, the way you move me is frightening. I better knock on wood. I really must stop videoing. Okay, so I've gone around all these trees here, put them back in nice and tight, looking again. Basically I've gone all the way back to where there's just 2 shoots coming out, and that means I've lost 2-3 centimeters on some of these. The growth looks good, but it's not going to be sustainable or useful in any way, shape or form unless you intend to wire it. So I've removed it all back, and I want in this next flush to get 2, whereas I actually only had 1 before. So I've got all these, got some downward growth and stuff like that I've cleaned up. But overall, quite happy with all this, and you know, I think that's coming on okay. Now the only thing I do is sort out the top, so let's get to that now, shall we? And yeah, you missed the main downpour, and glad you did. Again, we've actually got quite a nice heavy growth on this, a big hand palm print, but if you think about it in relation to the rest of the tree, we've got to come right back, I mean a really long way back, to try and actually establish a more realistic growth pattern for this. And it's difficult sometimes because, well, it looks good having all that growth, and we basically go around and cut it all off. I mean, here is all of this here, and I'm going to cut it all the way back to those. Same up here, we've got all this growth here. I could go for these 2, but with this long length there, better off taking it all the way back. Underneath, again we've got a big long gap there. It actually comes from right underneath. I'm not entirely sure we'll need all that growth. Can't see it properly at the moment, and we don't want this facing there. I'd quite like that bud to come out, so let's remove this coarse growth there. So on this one, right at the top of the tree, we've either got the buds that are going to be right in the wall, or we've got 1 there and 1 there. They're close, but for so high in the tree, they're no good, so I'll go all the way back to there. Same up here, I've got this great big growth up here. Unless this is going to be a continuation of an apex up here, I'm definitely going to initially take it back to there. So I've got these 2 here, so I'll get growth either side. And then again we've got this great big long branch, but I've got 2 here that I like, so take it all the way back, and really we're just about there. I've got again another great big long growth here. If I wanted to wire, I could do something with it, but I'm not wiring, so I've got to look all the way back to where I've got buds all the way back in here. Naturally it's coming from a junction of 3. For now I'll take it off there, reduce that one, and I think that's done. Okay, so as you see, some fairly straightforward decisions had to be made. The hardest thing with this, and I think the hardest thing a lot of us find is, certainly when we're starting out, is cutting all that growth that we think we've sort of developed, and cutting it right back to the first viable point where you've got a sensible internodal distance, and you've also got two shoots so that you can get that ramification 2 to 2 to 2. And that is the format we need to follow with all our projects. I'm so happy I used my blowtorch. Boys and toys. But I don't really, at this stage, I'm not that bothered about having to do needle plucking or anything underneath. They're still very, very early in its development. But yeah, I think the only thing we're missing is a bit of moss, and maybe I'll go and have a look and see if I can find some. Okay, well I have managed to find a little bit. Believe it or not, in that thunderstorm it was really drying, so let's just see if we can place it. And then we'll need to leave it in the water so it can bed in. And as I say, birds are nesting right now, so I don't hold out very much hope for it staying. I think overall though, I'm happy the way this the way the construction has stayed together. Certainly Mr. Bear's still here, so he must be quite happy with it. Quite happy to let it grow up and around the dead tree, that's for sure. So just give that some nice moisturiser. Moss likes a bit of moisturiser. Needs to dry out. We'll see how that reacts and whether we can actually keep it alive in this composition. Now, one of the things you can definitely do is create a moss staple. That's why bits of offcuts of your wire. Now this is about 900 millimeters too thick, but you just basically create a staple and find your moss point. And then use that to try and keep Mr. Tweety Pie away and what you'll find is it'll keep it down in place. Hopefully it'll stop the birds from pulling it about, and then normally once it's taken, then you're able to remove. Okay, so to the lovely strains and the sounds of rain, I'll spin this. Sorry I haven't got a decent background for it, but hopefully you've got a feel at least of how this planting is coming on. And I'm saying it's still early days, but I'm happy. I've shown you what to do when you've got a dead tree, and I kept this because it's in there quite securely, but also because I like the bark, so it gave me a chance to use the flamethrower, the brûlée thrower. And trees, again, they're in interesting places, so this is going to continue to grow out this way and fill in this spot here, which would make sense. Okay, so that's an update on last year's forest. Hope you've got something from it. And I'm now going to show you the second one. Anyway, rain stopped, and I thought I'd shoot out here before we've got a premiere tonight at 4 PM. Just to show you exactly how this ended up looking. As I say, long way to go yet, but I think there's interest in it. It's not completely uniform, so whichever way you look, you've got trees doing different things. And Barney Bear is pretty happy with it. So that's that one. And now I think we'll do the same routine with the forest I did the year before. Now, as you said, this one's obviously got a lot more vigour and has been in a pot an extra year longer. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees, a gorilla and a lion. I think the lion is hungrily eyeing up the gorilla. Lots of growth on this that we need to look at. In terms of damage, we've got dead here. Dead. Cut that back. We've seen the blowtorch once already. I've packed it away, but I think I'll wait till I've actually done a bit of pruning before I actually go to town on that. But yeah, so principle exactly the same. I've got a lot more ramification already formed within this to actually do a little bit more, but the process is exactly the same as what you've seen. So Mr. Lion and Mr. Gorilla, and lots and lots and lots of dense foliage. Well, as I say, I was driven in by yet another rainstorm. I'd managed to get this far, and now the sun's come out, and of course when you get driven away from your bonsai, what I like to do is to find my favourite book of haiku. And we all know who's done haiku, don't we, Jason? Jason Hanrahan of the Bonsai Garden, who gifted me this absolutely brilliant book, and I thought, I'm going to read something about rain. And of course we had thunder a little bit earlier. Leaden skies threaten, rumours of rumbling thunder, tension in the air. You can't write this stuff. Well, actually, clearly you can. After the rain falls, lightning skies, renewed hope, the grass still wet though. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Jason. Right, after that lovely little interlude, I'm going to keep finishing this. So how far have we got? I've actually done quite a lot of the pads on this side, down here, and all I've really got to do is just finish this little part here. So, while the sun's still out, we'll get on with that, shall we? Okay, so I've got that all finished. Really happy, as I say, it's a year further on. There's some bits and pieces I do want to do with it. I'm definitely going to go scorched earth on that. It's already got some feed there, which is dampening down. I mean, the pot's not that hot, so to speak, but as this forest comes on, what I'm waiting for is the root structure to get so entangled, entwined, that I can get to the point where I can lift it out in one go. The rock, do like the rock, like that rock. But yeah, you know, with all these projects, you've got to start somewhere. The one that we did to begin with, that was started last year. This one was started the year before. So, from Xavier, having done a good little job on those two young Japanese Larch Forests, hope you picked something up from them. Meanwhile, I've still got more Japanese Larch to get to. Not sure whether this is ever featured, but I put together two what were very, very ordinary straight trunk trees, and try and grow them as a twin, not quite mother-daughter, but you know, I've got pads there, a pad there from that one. But if you look at them individually, they're actually very, very difficult one-sided trees. But if you look at that from the front, you've got some lovely roots. But yeah, I'll give those a pruning. Got this thing to prune as well, so loads and loads of work to do. But from Xavier, in my bonsai retreat, enjoying a humid but sun-free Saturday afternoon. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great time. Happy bonsaiing. God bless. Cheers. Oh, and yes, if you hadn't worked it out, I did get my hair cut in between shots, so I'm back to being no hair man again. Cheers.